Hello, my name is Kevin Jones. I'm here to talk to you about something called the age of accelerated transformation. I think we all know this, or at least feel this. Everything seems to be moving very fast. Well, it's true. We're in a time of unprecedented change, but what makes it even more interesting, nice word, is the fact that it's moving very fast. This age of transformation, where many things that we've been used to or have experienced are changing. But again, the key is that they're changing rapidly. Hence, the age of accelerated transformation. Some people use terms like this. They will say, well, it's the digital age. And that's fine because digital technology does influence so much of what we do today. Some say it's the AI age. The AI age is also a very good term because, as we know, AI has an outsized impact on the transformation of both society and organizations. You may remember the Fourth Industrial Revolution. As you know, Klaus Schwab talked about that in a couple of his books. While all these terms are good terms, I would, though, want to broaden it. And the reason I want to broaden it is because this accelerated transformation is not just driven by technology. Let's talk about some of the things that drive it. We'll go to something called the pestle. The pestle represents political, economic, societal, technological, legal, and environmental factors or drivers of change. When we look at that, we know that we see changes in the political landscape. We see many changes in the economic landscape. Society itself sees things differently, and there's many shifts in our perception of many things. There's that big one, the T, which we'll talk about more later, technological. And by the way, it's not just AI. Legal, many different ways that the legal system is changing and transforming. And then environmental. While there's great debate on what is changing, we know that things within the environment are changing. So what we're talking about here is pace of change. We're talking about convergence. And last but not least, we're talking about depth of change. Now, sometimes change and transformation are used interchangeably, and I think they can be. But when we use the term transformation, we're talking typically about systemic change. We're talking about a broad set of factors that are changing. So in a sense, change is a subset of transformation. So let's talk about this pace. How many people remember when the internet came in? Yes, I do. Well, when the internet started, it was something that had been around for many years and then slowly entered into the public sphere with the World Wide Web. And gradually we moved toward this complete dependence we have on the internet, right? But it was not immediate. It was progressive. It did move somewhat fast, but it was not like every day you looked up, wow, there's a new browser. Oh my, we now move from dial-in to online all the time. I remember working on a project where we talked about trying to provide internet service continually. Yes, I've been around a while. But the pace was, yes, steady and progressive, but it was not what we would say accelerated. Now, let's talk about this term of convergence. This is what causes the acceleration. Convergence is where you take different things, they come together. All right, here's two things for you to keep in mind. One of the reasons why AI has exploded in terms of our ever-present tool is because of the increased power of compute. You have to have compute and you have to have, yes, AI technology. But there's something else. The explosion of access to data, which is related back to the internet. When you think about data, you think about compute, and then you think about advancement of AI technology. That's that convergence that creates the acceleration and lays the groundwork for transformation. And then finally, this term called depth. When we think of depth, we're saying, how deep is the change? Is it something on the surface, or is it something that changes basically how we do everything? I will argue that we are in an age where everything we do is changing. Now, some people could say, well, the cell phone did that. Well, it did. I mean, how many people don't have a cell phone? How many people don't check their cell phone every few minutes, and so on and so forth? But that did not occur immediately. When we had cell phones, yes, I'm talking about myself, I had a bag phone, a bag cell phone, yes, a bag cell phone, and only used it for emergencies because it was so expensive to use, and you wanted to have it because, well, something happened, now you have a cell phone. Now, that was in the era where we still had pay phones, yes, that's right, but this transformation to the cell phone was somewhat limited. Now, different factors came into play, different convergences, and yes, they moved forward, but we did not all arrive at the smartphone. For many years, we were using just regular cell phones as a telephone. We used it somewhat for the internet as it advanced. But now, yes, clearly, cell phones are our primary source for many of us for access to the internet. All right, so that depth of change did not occur right away, but yet that depth of change with cell phones is complete. Everything we do is now different because of the presence of cell phones. All right? That's what is happening today with a number of things. All right? Where do you store your data? You store it in the cloud. When you talk to someone, well, okay, are you limited to talk to people within the US, or can you talk to somebody throughout the world? Okay, do you go on WhatsApp? Do you talk to someone, or do you use your cell phone to talk? There are so many innovations and opportunities for us, which again, fundamentally change everything that we're doing. So in this age of accelerated transformation, we want to remember it has a lot to do with speed. Just basic how fast change is occurring. And then we talk about connectivity. It's nothing for me to have a conversation with someone in any region of the world, and I do, trying to figure out what time it is in Singapore versus what time it is in the US. Just so you know, 12 hours, okay? So how do we have a conversation? But that connectivity exists, and it's just a matter of saying, here's the day, here's the time, here's the tool we're going to use. And this is the one that troubles some of us. The sense of uncertainty. Things are moving very fast. They are transforming, but yet they're not occurring in fully predictable ways. For example, one quick reference to the infamous generative AI, AI plural, is this term called AGI. Is it coming? Is it here? Is it 3 years away? Is it 5 years away? Is it 10 years away? Well, we don't know. We don't know. We know it's coming, but we don't know when it's coming. All right? So this is an example of how we are somewhat struggling during this age of accelerated transformation. But to summarize this, we want you to think about the fact that it is what it is. Things are moving fast. They're not going to slow down. We should not look for a stable state, but we should work to figure out how do we navigate in this age of constant change and transformation.